Shalom. Give all glory and honor and praise to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, teaching this 100% truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 140 of 1,000, the rest of the men, women, and children. I'm your brother Magun Shalomar. The title of this video is The Day of Atonement. I'm going to start with Leviticus chapter 23. It says, verse 1, And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of Yahweh, and ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feast days. So these high holy days, we have to keep. These are for us to keep. So we're going to go down to around verse 26. Okay, it says, Day of Atonement. Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. So the 7th month begins with the first day. The first month begins with March, sometime April, depending on the leap year. That's the first month because of the Passover coming in, which brings in the new year around the same time of the new year for Israel. So it's a March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So that's your 7th month that we're in. It says, It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. So, let's find out what the afflict your souls, because the Christians don't know the true meaning of what afflicts your soul, and them damn small hats, they out there, hitting themselves with whips or whatnot underneath their shirts, thinking that's what it means to afflict your soul. But, they should say that to when they ask go into captivity, when Yahweh Shai Hamashiach returns. But verse 3, it says, let's start verse 1. Cry out loud, spare not, lift up the voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sins. Who are his people? So-called Negro, Latino, Native American Indians. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness and forsake not the ordinance of their power. They ask of me the ordinance of justice, that they take delight in approaching Yahweh. It says, Wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou seest not? Wherefore have we afflicted our soul? So you see, that's what afflicts your soul, is through fasting. You fast, you are afflicting your soul because you're not satisfying your flesh through the pleasure of drinking water and eating food, right? So this 24 hours, again, it began last night, which is the going down of the sun, which brings in the new day until, till tonight, this night, the 24 hours later at the sundown. Brings in the end of the Day of Atonement. So 24 hours, no water, no food. Okay, let's go back. Let's find out, what this day actually means. It says, verse 28, And ye shall do no work in the same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your power. So let's go into this Hebrew word for day is Yawam. Okay, and so it's the day. But we know the day begins at night. that's the beginning of a new day when the sun go down. All right. Till the following sun go down is the end of that first day. Okay, so atonement we're gonna look at, and that's kaparium. So that's kapar right here, and it says to purge, atonement, reconciliation, reconcile, forgive, purge away, and we know who that's dealing with is Moses speaking to the children of Israel. All right, and you have to be a part of the children of Israel to take part of this. Your bloodline has to go back to Jacob. All right. So it says, and ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is the day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before Yahweh your power. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among the people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. So we know we're living in, the Babylon, the great city of Babylon, the great, and that we have to work in order to live, survive, eat food, pay bills, pay taxes. So some of us can't take off work, right? So we have to, practice the righteous act until the Lord brings us to the kingdom when Yahweh Shah returns, and we're going to do it perfectly. We're going to be in our kingdom then. We're going to be in Yahweh Shah's kingdom, and we're going to be doing this perfectly. We're just rehearsing, but things that we still have to consider is we have to abstain from sex, because that's the pleasure of the flesh. So that's afflicting your soul when you're not having sex with your wife, with your girl, whatnot. Anything of pleasure, anything that brings pleasure to the flesh, drinking, that includes alcohol, wine, water, and no food, anything that does pleasure, like watching television for me, is also, or, all of that, talking on the phone for me, talking to my woman, whatever. I'm afflicting my soul, It says, for whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. So, all generations, we're supposed to keep, you're an Israelite, we're supposed to keep these high holy days, And it says, it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, because, a Sabbath of rest, you do no type of servile work. You don't cook, no sex. IUIC doesn't agree to that, but they're breaking the law. That it says you're not supposed to, anything that pleasure the flesh, the sex is included. It said, in the 9th day of the month at even, from even until even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. Okay, so we treat this like a Sabbath day as well. Okay, so what I want to do is, we know that Yahweh Shai, what we're doing is, we're afflicting our soul, but we're not. The atonement already has been paid through his only begotten Son, which is Yahweh Shai Mashiach. And let's get Hebrews chapter 10 real quick. I just want to, just hit that real fast, because, some people don't understand, like, these Day of Atonement. Yes, we're keeping it. Yes, we're afflicting our soul, but we are not actually asking the Lord to forgive our sins, because Yahweh already done that for us, and he don't have to do it again. So it says, Hebrews 10:6, in burnt offerings and sacrifice for sin, thou has had no pleasure, right? Because Israel was continuously committing sin after sin, doing sin, same sin over and over and over. And then so they got so used to just burning bullocks, burning rams to the Lord, and then go back out and do the same sin, And so the Lord said, I'm done with that. It's verse 7 says, then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book is written of me to do thy will of Yahweh. Now I could have went higher because this whole chapter is fire. I'm just going to start where I began at. I think that was a good place to start. But that's talking about Yahweh Shai, because he's in the volume of the book throughout the whole entire book. These damn Christians think that Yahweh Shai comes in with beginning of the book of Matthew in the New Testament. No, he's throughout the whole entire book, the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, and the New Testament. Verse 8, it says, above when he says, sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings and offerings for sin thou wouldest not, neither had his pleasure therein, which are offered by the law. Then said he, lo, I come to do thy will, O power. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. So yeah, that first covenant is what we was under before Yahweh Shai came. When you committed sin, that's what Israel did, was to, through the priest, offer up these sin offerings. A bullock, doves, rams, and sprinkling the blood and all of that to offer in the sin offerings. But that was the first, and the Lord had to take away the first in order for the second to come, which is the second covenant. And in order to do that, Yahweh Shai had to become that sacrificial lamb. He had to spill his blood, because that sacrifice still needed a blood. It still required blood to be spilled in order to have a proper sacrifice. And Yahweh Shai was a perfect sacrifice. Right? So verse 10, it says, by the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach once and for all. You see that? Once and for all. You ain't have to do it. You ain't have to come back and do it no more. And this is why this going into it says, and every priest standeth daily ministering and offering oftentimes the same sacrifices, which can never take away sins. And that's a straight cut to you damn Christians, especially you Roman Catholic Church. Y'all dumbasses be going to the priest, offering up these, whatever he tell you to do, says 10 Hail Marys and your sins is forgiven. No man can forgive your sin. It tells you which can never take away sin. Yahweh already paid the ultimate sacrifice, man. In order to bring that second, we're leading to, we're not in the second covenant yet, because it's not complete yet. Yahweh Shai has to come back. And when he comes back, take the elect. Once we are changed, boom, we get that perfect body. We get that our stony heart is taken away. We're given that stone of flesh. And the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments going to be written in us, in our hands and our hearts, and we ain't going to never sin no more, which means we're not going to commit sin, and we're not going to die. We're going to be eternal. So it says, verse 12, it says, but this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of the Most High. So that's the true atonement for Israel that we have. But again, we still are required to give observance to this day of atonement. We're supposed to afflict our soul through no drinking, no food from sundown to sundown, and abstain from any type of sex with your wife, and any pleasure of the flesh. Okay. So with that, I hope you was edified. Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakadash. All glory and honor given to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone. Shalom.